Now, I'm privileged to introduce you all to the man you came here to see, former Speaker of the House, author of 9 books, including Winning the Future, a 21st Century Contract with America. He's an advocate, an avatar, a volunteer, and chairman of American Solutions for Winning the Future, Mr. Newt Gingrich.
Okay, let me just say, these are some of the teething pains of learning a new technology. But I regard Second Life, as the beginning of a very different kind of system that lets exactly what you see happening in front of us, which is people from all over the world can come together and can be together and can share ideas. And I think that it's very important to look at how this technology is going to evolve. The Second Life, in many ways, is the first successful manifestation of an idea known among futurists as a metaverse. The metaverse, that is a virtual world inhabited by real people, was pioneered in science fiction novels, notably William Gibson's 1984 Neuromancer and Neil Stephenson's 1992 Snow Crash. The first intellectual treatment of the metaverse came in the form of David Gelernter's 1992 book, Mirror Worlds. As a teacher by trade, I am delighted to teach a workshop here in Second Life, but I'm actually not the first to do so. Harvard Law School professor Charles Nesson taught a class last year inside Second Life about law in the court of public opinion, and I think you're going to find more people engaged in study groups and in work groups in this kind of Second Life and other kind of metaverse environments because they're so effective. You're going to see this continue to evolve, not just in Second Life, but if I can suggest, there will be other extraverses that are around and introverses that are virtual online worlds. And as a result, you're going to see, I think, a continuous evolution of this kind of capability. I like it because I think that extranets and 3D Internet represent a brand new approach to collaboration. While it is true that it's still fairly primitive by the standards of having holograms or being face-to-face in more complex ways, I think you're going to find that this is an example of how we can rethink learning, how you could rethink continuous medical learning, for example, how you could rethink shopping, how you can rethink bringing together meetings, particularly if the people who are trying to meet come from very long geographic distances. And I think you'll see more and more of this kind of online collaboration because it is so relatively simple to engage in. I think that 3D Internet, in all of its various forms, is going to become one of the great breakthroughs of the next 10 years and helps us create what I've described as the world that works. And I think it's important to recognize that this is rapidly going to extend beyond gaming. As Second Life CEO Philip Rosedale said in Wired magazine, I'm not building a game, I'm building a new country. I think it's a parallel country. It's a parallel that enables us to do things that would be much more difficult to do in the real world. We deliberately chose the west front of the U.S. Capitol here in Second Life because we want to illustrate how far we've come in 13 years. 13 years ago, the Internet was in its infancy. The House and Senate websites had just gone online, and Republicans stood on the west front of the Capitol to sign the contract with America. In fact, the Thomas system did not yet exist. We actually invented it, and I launched it the day after I was sworn in as Speaker, allowing anybody anywhere in the world to follow the U.S. House without having to have a lobbyist or belong to a trade association. 13 years later, on Solutions Day, we returned to the west front of the U.S. Capitol, but in the virtual world of Second Life, to continue where the contract left off. And I would urge you to think about this scale of scientific change, project out another 13 years, and think about how many different possibilities there are for Americans to develop a much better future. The last big point I want to make before taking questions is that we're going to see 4 to 7 times as much new science in the next 25 years as we saw in the last 25 years. That explosion of new knowledge, much of which is going to come from outside the United States, really does create an opportunity for us to learn and to continue to develop new approaches. And so my hope is that we're going to be able to work together to collaborate to develop red, white, and blue solutions, not red versus blue partisanship, but real efforts as Americans, both among ourselves and then reaching out across the world to find the best kinds of new solutions and to develop new approaches to energy, to the environment, to how we solve our national security problems, to how we create jobs, and to how we dramatically create the best kind of future. And it's our effort to begin to draw attention to the possibilities that if we could get government to accelerate innovation and if we could look for these kind of new challenges, that we could in fact together create a much better future for all Americans and ultimately for all people around the world.